Welcome to Headliners Forum. We're here to bring you the best in Texas journalism, the stories behind the great stories. I'm Mark Morrison. Our special guest is Courtney Sacco, photographer for the Corpus Christi Caller-Times. Courtney won this year's Headliners Foundation Charles Green Award, honoring the state's best photojournalism for 2019. This award is presented annually by the Headliners Foundation of Texas in partnership with the Texas Associated Press, Print, and Broadcast Associations. Courtney, congratulations and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're living in an increasingly visual world when it comes to the media. How do you go about serving the 24/7 news cycle?
I think in today's day and age, visuals have become more and more important, and the best way to tell a story is through a picture.
When you get an assignment, how do you prepare to make sure your photographs tell the story in the best possible way?
You get an assignment, I think each thing is always extremely different, right? You never know what you're going to get. You could be shooting a high school football game or off on the border telling some crazy story on a ride along with the Border Patrol. So each assignment, you kind of look at it and always remember you're trying to tell people's stories, and you make sure you have the gear you need, and just kind of go in with an open mind and see the light as it is and try to make the best picture possible.
Is there a lot of collaboration between editors and reporters come up with the best shots and the best conveyance of the story idea?
Sometimes on some of our bigger stuff, you'll get some more collaboration with the editors trying to figure out what's the best thing to do to tell the story. A lot of it is just, it kind of falls on you to know the story you're trying to tell and figure out the best way to go out and tell that story.
What do you find to be the most challenging assignments? You find breaking news is easier than feature work sometimes, or vice versa?
To me, I started shooting stuff on the streets of Boston, and I got a career solely off my ability to do breaking news. So to me, breaking news is incredibly easy. Feature work can be more challenging, but in that challenge is where you can truly make some great pictures.
There's so much new digital photography technology. What kind of equipment do you prefer to use, and different kinds for the great variety of assignments that you get?
I am preferably a prime person. I love to run around with my 24 1.4 and my 35 1.4. Love the depth of field you can get and just the pure sharpness. But you can't always use that in a football game. You run around with your 400, and you always have your 7200. So you always have a wide range of stuff.
Right. We thought it would be interesting to kind of get you to walk us through some of the photography that won you this award. There were lots and lots of shots, but these were some highlights. The first one we're going to look at illustrates a story about Gulf Coast shrimpers. Beautiful shot. How did you capture that one?
This is a story I had wanted to do since I got to Corpus Christi, actually. Shrimping has kind of died down in this area. It used to be something that was kind of drove the economy in places. And so finally we were able to find this shrimper, and he let us come out. And it's one of those, you want to make great pictures, be in amazing places, and being on a shrimp boat in the bay as dawn comes about truly just makes the picture itself. I mean, you had birds flying around, and this guy's just doing his thing, and with truly amazing light, and it just kind of materializes there in front of you.
Right. I see a man here who seems very proud of his work, and um, seems to be enjoying his job as well.
No, I mean, he honestly didn't care that we paid us no attention. One of those, like, usually if you're like, oh, pretend I'm not here, he just honestly is like, I'm gonna do my thing and stay out of my way. So it was truly one of the easiest and one of the most compelling things I've been able to tell. It just led to such amazing pictures.
Right. Next up is your coverage of a change of the guard at the Naval Air Station there. Really a pretty routine assignment that could have produced a pretty routine photo, but tell us how you homed in on this wonderful moment with the smiles underneath the caps.
It truly actually is one of those moments where you walk into one of these assignments and it's in a horribly lit room where you can't really move around or do anything because the military's set in their ways and everyone's where they need to be. But you could tell right off the bat that everyone really loved this captain and he had a great sense of humor. So as they were giving the opening prayer, you saw the captain and the man who's replacing him, they just crack jokes the whole time. And their heads always stayed down. You got a little glimpse of both of them just lifting up as they couldn't help themselves from laughing. And luckily I was able to capture a moment where both of their faces just happened to be up.
And next, this may be my favorite from a Trump rally in Texas. I believe it was in Dallas. Tell us about this assignment and how you encountered this young man or woman, young girl. I can't tell which.
That was oddly enough at the end of a very, very long day. Outside photographing the crowd that gathers in the overflow area, and people are just hanging out all day trying to get in, waiting to get into the Trump rally. And this I took at the end of my night. This was probably the last picture I actually took. And Trump had just finished speaking, and everyone's kind of like getting ready to leave, and I was leaving myself to go file, and I just saw this, and I was like, wow, this is. I just had to make this picture, and kind of like a little off, like click, and
it's the kind of photo you'd expect to almost go viral. Did it get picked up on social media and fairly widespread, or not really?
No, I think it got buried in my gallery.
Next, we are going to look at one of your immigration photographs, and of course you see a lot of shots like this, but this one seemed to me to have a lot of human feeling to it. Can you share a bit of background?
This was on one of my ride-alongs down in the valley, and oddly enough, this is actually just rather routine where when you're on a ride-along, you're with a Border Patrol agent who's an acting Border Patrol agent, and they drive down these roads, and there's just people walking off having just crossed the border, and they just get out and they're talking to them. And I believe this was a woman, and it was one of them. The son, the boy is hers. And I don't think the little girl actually was. And it's just they had just crossed over, and I think they had gotten lost, if I remember correctly, down this long road.
And it looked like a fairly friendly and maybe even warm conversation going on between the Border Patrol and the immigrant in this case.
Yeah. Most of what I encountered on, especially on this ride along, you just walk up to them like, "Hi, I'm here."
And what happened to this woman and her children? Did they get apprehended, or were they did they move right along, or?
No, they were. This is the first contact, and then I believe some more people ended up coming along down the road, and Border Patrol
Right.
came. They all get taken into custody.
Right. So, as you know, we support journalism education, and I wondered if you could share maybe some advice to students who are interested in photojournalism, and talk about what the best preparation for a career like yours. Maybe there are some experiences you had as a student that got you ready for working for a major publication.
I think the most important thing is to keep a very open mind and just be open to hear people's stories. We have a responsibility and kind of an honor just to be there to tell these people's stories. I mean, people open up their lives to us and allow us to photograph them. I think that's something truly special and not something to take for granted.
So listening being really a key. I mean, at this point in our society, everybody with an Apple phone is a professional photographer, right? Or at least in their own mind. Former AP photo editor Cliff Schiappa said this: Sacco is alert to capture fleeting moments as well as covering major stories that demand patience and fortitude. Whether on the sidelines of a sporting event, on board a fishing vessel, piloting a drone, or at a spot news event, he produces images that are well composed, technically strong, while telling the story in an insightful manner. Courtney, thank you for sharing your photography experiences with us, and congratulations on your well-deserved Headliners Award.
Thank you very much.
On our site, you can link to some of Courtney's outstanding work and to interviews with other award-winning Texas journalists. For my colleague and Headliners Forum producer, Gary Pickle, I'm Mark Morrison.